Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the LUMUN YouTube channel. This video is going to be your guide to the ACD application for LUMUN 18. This is only for the Secretariat, not for the Directorate. So before we go on, let's get into what an ACD does. An ACD or an assistant committee director has a few responsibilities before the conference, during the conference, and after the conference too. An ACD first and foremost makes the study guide before the conference. This is going to be the majority of the work that you do before the conference in the months following up to the conference. A study guide is a document given to the delegates which highlights the important points and what the committee is going to discuss. It's basically an introduction to the committee for the delegates. It's a starting point for the research and tells them what the committee will discuss in the coming days. What you will be expected to do is to research on the topic that you will be given for the committee and come up with an outline of what the topic has to cover. Then you will write a study guide which will cover this entire outline and explain to the delegates what you expect them to study on. The second most important responsibility that you will have is to check position papers before the conference. Every single delegate in your committee is going to have one position paper which will highlight what they wish to accomplish within the committee in the coming 4 days. And it will explain their country's stance or what their country believes about the topic. And it will be submitted to you before the conference begins. Other than these two major tasks, there might be some specialized tasks that your committee directors might want you to do, such as running the Facebook page or a Twitter channel or whatnot.
Right. Thank you for that so far, Hamza. I'll be taking over for the responsibilities during the conference, right? So when it comes to during the conference, I think right off the bat, we know that ACDs have to help the committee directors with all the committee operations, which is, for example, moderating the caucuses and the speeches that are given, managing chits and messages that are sent to the dais. So a lot of times, especially in the virtual setting, the committee directors will be too busy to read all the questions that they receive over chat. So the onus falls on the ACDs. Of course, also this follows up with listening and note-taking to the speeches of the delegates as well. There are a lot of other miscellaneous online operations that assistant committee directors are supposed to do, sometimes maintaining some very basic records and Excel sheets, maybe scoring some speeches, things of the sort, right? Then, of course, I've mentioned scoring as well. Committee judging is an important role of ACDs, while, of course, the main role that largely falls on the committee directors, but there's some onus also falls on the assistant committee directors and assisting committee directors making informed decisions. Of course, lastly, and this is perhaps the most important part of becoming an ACD, is that you must be approachable and you must help out delegates, because one main objective of ours here at LUMUN is to optimize the experience of all the delegates that come here. We make sure that they learn and they enjoy, and you are crucial to that process and to that objective. I think we can move on to the next slide.
Now I'll be discussing the responsibilities of an ACD in crisis committees, whose general tasks are slightly different than the rest. There is an expectation that a crisis ACD is hardworking and committed to be able to learn the technicalities that comes with crisis committees. And furthermore, especially with regards to a JCC, an ACD must be creative, intelligent, and a quick thinker to be able to come up with crises, respond urgently to directives, and just generally being aware of delegates' communications. And don't worry if you don't know what a directive is, your chairs and your committee directors will teach you along the way. Now that we're aware of the responsibilities and qualities of a good ACD, we'll move on to dissecting the ACD application, which will be going very live soon, and you can see all the details in the description box down below. So starting off with the first few general questions, which are pretty straightforward. For the first question, which is what excites you most about LUMUN, we're mostly looking for your enthusiasm, any specific parts of the conference that you're looking for, and just a general willingness to learn. And as for the second question, what makes you a good fit? We're looking for experiences with leading or managing a team or project in whatever shape or form. It doesn't have to be MUN related. We're also looking for skills that are compatible with leading and managing a committee and preparing background guides such as communication and writing skills. And of course, feel free to mention your unique interests and hobbies such as watching documentaries that just add to your personality and will contribute to the application.
Right. So I believe I'll take over once again for this part. For the committee preferences, one thing that we really want you to know is that you really do not need to be intimidated at all, regardless of whether you have prior experience or not. The application for becoming an ACD is for you, because as we mentioned, the objective of LUMUN is to be a learning experience. Please don't be afraid of trying something new, trying something based on your previous experiences, either in MUNs or outside of MUNs. And the questions that follows your committee preferences, the thoughts on the agenda of the topic. What we really are looking for is what aspects of the topic would you like, or what aspects of the topic would you not like? What really would you want that should be discussed as part of this topic, the subtopics that you think are relevant, or why you think that this particular topic is important at this point in time, or whether do you have any personal experiences that make this topic really resonate with the kind of person you are, or whatever experiences you have. I think we can move on. Right. So the next two questions: how would you contribute to your first preference committee? What we're really looking for here is a contribution, right? Because of course, we aren't looking for you to already know your roles and be completely sure of how the work of an ACD goes, which is why we're really concerned about your passion to contribute and your ideas that you might have for any sort of virtual conference, and which might take a competitive form, which of course in this case is an MUN. And if you are aware and you so far have understood the ACD specific roles, as which we discussed earlier in this video as well, you could maybe suggest any innovations that you have in mind. And of course, talk about whatever roles that you think you can easily fulfill. The next question is, how do you expect committees to function smoothly in a virtual setting? Here, what we're looking for is for you to talk about your general experience since the COVID pandemic came. A lot of us have been in and out of a lot of virtual conferences, meetings. What really do you think goes into having a successful virtual meeting, one that is engaging and one that is enjoyable, and also logistically smooth at the same time? And whatever ideas you have to offset any problems that might arise. I think that's about it. Let's move on.
All right, so now that we're done with the questions, just a few closing notes. These are the general qualities that we're looking for in the application that you're going to submit. First of all, you obviously have to be honest in what you want to do and what your skills are. You have to have a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of dedication, because an ACD does work throughout the year in managing the conference. You have to be willing to learn, and more importantly, willing to teach what you know to your peers and to the delegates that are coming. Now, to answer a few frequently asked questions, the ideal length of answers, you have to keep in mind that there is no set length of answers, but it shouldn't be too long, because we also have to review these applications, but they should cover anything and everything essential that you feel that we should know. Will you always get your preference? Not necessarily. You may not get the committee that you have selected for, but we will give you the option. We won't force put you somewhere. We will let you know that these are the committees that we think are ideal for you, and then you can choose whether you want to come back to us. When will you hear back? After the application is complete, you will get an interview call, which will be basically us telling you that you've been selected for the interview process. And after the interviews, within a couple of days, we're going to let you know by email whether you've been selected for the host team. If you do not get selected, you do not need to worry. LUMUN is a society that is not just a single event. We have multiple events. We go to international conferences, and as a member of the LUMUN team, you will get multiple opportunities to participate and to learn. And we're looking forward to your application, and good luck.
Thanks a lot.